Welcome back to Superbly Said Advanced English Vocabulary and Phrases.
It is so great to be here.
And just to jump right in, you can go to SpeakDuo.com to meet new people from around the world who are practicing English on video calls to become more confident with their English speaking abilities.
It's an amazing resource for sure.
It really is. Now, this deep dive is specifically for advanced English learners, so we are going to jump straight into our first idiom today.
Sounds perfect to me. And we are starting with the phrase, at one's fingertips, which is, all about how we have this insane access to information.
Right, like having trivia answers super close, literally in your pocket. But we still sit at dinner and argue for an hour over who sang a specific song.
Oh, absolutely. The internet is right there, but we just want to argue.
Or, having the whole dictionary on your phone, but still Googling how to spell the word restaurant every single time you text it.
Guilty as charged on that one.
Yeah.
But if you compare at one's fingertips to just saying something is on hand or available, there's a real nuance there.
That's the main difference.
Well, available is pretty passive, but at one's fingertips is much more immediate. It's physical. It usually implies digital access right there in your palm.
Oh, that physical connection makes sense. So in a work scenario, you'd say, I have the quarterly sales data right at my fingertips for the boss.
Yeah, it sounds incredibly proactive and prepared.
And for an IELTS Part 2 response, maybe about technology, you could say, with global news at my fingertips, I stay informed.
That is perfect. But,
Yeah.
Because we have so much at our fingertips, it's pretty inevitable that we will accidentally, stumble upon things.
Which is our second phrase, stumble upon. This means finding something completely by accident.
Right, like you're not searching for it at all.
Like looking at old tagged photos and stumbling on some huge 2018 drama. Or finding an ex's wedding album.
Oh, that is never a fun surprise. But think about the word discover or the phrase search for. Searching is very intentional.
Yeah, you have a specific goal in mind.
Exactly. Stumble upon really highlights the pure, sometimes clumsy accident of the find. You just tripped over it.
So at work, you can say, I stumbled upon a massive error in the financial spreadsheet while looking for a client's email.
It's a great way to show you weren't actively hunting for someone's mistake.
Exactly, it softens the blow. And for IELTS, you might say, I stumbled upon a beautiful hidden cafe while walking in the rain.
I love that imagery. And when you stumble upon enough random information and you practice analyzing it, you actually accidentally become a master of one's field.
Phrase number 3, being unbelievably good at something totally random or funny.
Like what, exactly?
Well, like analyzing Instagram backgrounds for dating clues, or parallel parking with really loud music playing in the car.
That takes serious focus. But if you compare it to saying you're an expert or a specialist, those are very formal terms.
Right, like doctorates and degrees.
Yeah. Master of one's field is often used humorously or hyperbolically to elevate a really silly niche skill to a professional level.
Wait, I actually have a question about that. Can you be a master of a field in something negative like procrastinating?
Ah, that's a good distinction to make. Usually, no. It's reserved for a skill. Even an unconventional one, it implies active competence, not just failing to do something.
Got it. So at work, I could say, when it comes to unjamming the office printer, my boss is a true master of her field.
Yeah, that's a really nice, warm compliment.
And for IELTS, describing a person, you could say, my colleague is a master of his field in negotiating with tough clients.
Spot on. But even masters of their field have to deal with other people. And sometimes we realize the people we interact with are completely out of touch.
Which is phrase 4, out of touch, being totally disconnected from reality or normal struggles.
Right, like influencers complaining about the Wi-Fi on their private jets.
Yes, or billionaires saying to stop buying iced coffee if you ever want to buy a house.
Exactly. And if you compare out of touch to unaware or ignorant, there's a much deeper layer.
How so?
It implies a systemic, usually privileged disconnection from the lived reality of everyday people. You're floating away from real life.
That makes a lot of sense. So at work, you might say, the CEO's mandate to return to the office 5 days a week shows he is completely out of touch with the staff's commuting struggles.
Yeah, that is a perfect and very common example.
And for IELTS, you could say, many politicians seem out of touch with the concerns of younger voters.
Absolutely. But, when you point out to someone that they are out of touch, that feedback usually doesn't go down well.
Phrase 5, go down well. This is how people react to news or a joke, and it's mostly used negatively.
Like choosing to go on a friend's vacation over going home for the holidays?
Yeah, that definitely won't go down well with mom. Or telling a friend her DIY bangs are crooked.
Never a good idea. But compared to saying a plan succeeds or works out, go down well is very specific.
In what way?
It specifically focuses on the audience's emotional reception, their internal reaction to what you delivered.
Oh, okay. So at work, proposing a pay cut to the team definitely did not go down well with the staff.
I can imagine the room getting very quiet.
Definitely. And for IELTS, my suggestion to change our travel plans didn't go down well with my family.
Right. And when a conversation doesn't go down well, people start getting defensive and avoiding the actual question.
Which can drive someone in circles. Phrase number 6.
Right. Frustrating someone by repeating arguments or giving absolutely no straight answers.
Like trying to pick a Friday night restaurant.
Right.
Or an ex talking for an hour about the relationship, but saying literally nothing.
It is so maddening.
Yeah.
And compared to just confusing or distracting someone, driving in circles emphasizes that repetitive loop.
Where no actual progress is made.
Exactly. You end up where you started.
So at work, I asked my manager about a promotion, but she just drove me in circles about company metrics.
Ugh, so frustrating.
And for IELTS, trying to get a refund from the airline drove me in circles for hours.
We have all been there. And when someone drives you in circles, you eventually start feeling trapped or held hostage by them.
Phrase 7. Held hostage by. Feeling totally trapped by a terrible date or maybe a chatty aunt at midnight.
Or a guy talking about crypto for 2 solid hours.
Yes. And it's way more intense than just saying you were delayed or stuck with someone.
Yeah, it's a dramatic, highly figurative way to express feeling socially trapped and totally unable to politely escape.
So for work, I couldn't finish my project because I was held hostage by a coworker talking about his cats in the break room.
A very real workplace hazard.
Absolutely. And for IELTS, during the train delay, I felt held hostage by the loud music playing from the passenger next to me.
Perfect. But, to break free from being held hostage in a bad situation, you have to speak up and make a case for yourself.
Phrase 8. Make a case for. Passionately arguing for something, even an unpopular opinion.
Like arguing that Crocs are elite shoes.
Or eating cold pizza the next morning.
The absolute best breakfast. But compared to defend or support, making a case implies proactive, structured advocacy.
So you're really trying to persuade someone of an unexpected viewpoint, like a lawyer.
Exactly.
At work, I need to make a case for why our department deserves a larger budget next quarter.
Sounds very persuasive.
And for IELTS, in my presentation, I made a case for implementing a 4-day work week.
Brilliant. But if you don't step up and make a case for yourself, you'll inevitably learn the hard way.
Our final phrase, learn the hard way. Learning a lesson through a painful or really embarrassing mistake.
Like accidentally sending a screenshot to the person you are gossiping about.
The absolute worst feeling.
Yeah.
Or moving in with a partner to save rent and completely losing your sanity.
Yeah. And compared to simply making a mistake, learning the hard way focuses on the enduring, painful wisdom extracted from a disaster.
The lesson sticks with you because of the pain. So at work, I learned the hard way that you should always back up your presentation to the cloud before a big meeting.
A tough day at the office.
Definitely. And for IELTS, I learned the hard way not to pack heavily for a backpacking trip.
A very good example.
And that covers all 9 phrases. So it is time for our final quiz to test your memory. I'm going to read the questions and the options. Feel free to pause the podcast here if you need to think about the answer.
Let's see how well we can navigate these.
Question 1. What is the best definition for the expression master of one's field? A. To intentionally dominate a corporate sector by using strictly unethical and highly destructive financial tactics. B. To be unbelievably skilled or exceptionally competent at a specific activity, even if it is just a simple hobby. C. To suddenly discover an entirely new geographical location during a remarkably complex and dangerous expedition.
That's right. The answer is B, master of one's field. Remember the person parallel parking with loud music.
Question 2. How is the phrasal verb to stumble upon accurately defined? A. To rapidly decline in physical health immediately following a surprisingly strenuous outdoor athletic tournament. B. To intentionally hide incredibly sensitive personal information to completely avoid a massive public investigation. C. To entirely accidentally discover a completely unexpected item, secret information, or surprising digital content.
That's right. The answer is C, to stumble upon. Remember finding the 2018 drama in tagged photos?
Question 3. If someone manages to drive someone in circles, what exactly are they doing? A. To thoroughly confuse or deeply frustrate a person by repeating arguments without giving them a straight answer. B. To aggressively force an incredibly tired colleague to continuously work well beyond their standard weekly hours. C. To successfully transport highly valuable physical materials across remarkably complicated international borders.
That's right. The answer is A, to drive someone in circles. Remember an ex talking for an hour but saying nothing?
Question 4. What does a person mean when they say they were held hostage by something? A. To completely deliberately manipulate an emotionally vulnerable partner into successfully accepting a bad deal. B. To feel intensely trapped or completely unable to escape a highly uncomfortable situation or a terrible encounter. C. To effectively physically detach a heavy wooden object from its original metal frame to secretly access a room.
That's right. The answer is B, held hostage by, remember feeling trapped by a guy talking about crypto for 2 hours?
Question 5. Which of the following describes what it means to have something at one's fingertips? A. To violently disrupt an organized public gathering in order to forcefully draw immediate attention to an issue. B. To successfully, consistently, accurately, logically, completely ignore all extremely difficult professional advice. C. To have extremely quick and remarkably easy access to specific information, digital resources, or handy tools.
That's right. The answer is C, at one's fingertips. Remember having the answers to trivia questions right there.
Question 6. What occurs when a situation is said to go down well? A. To describe how people favorably react to specific news, a surprising joke, or a deeply personal confession. B. To carefully lower a surprisingly heavy industrial object using a specially designed modern electronic machine. C. To rapidly, forcefully, completely dismantle a massive corporate business structure before fully recreating it.
That's right. The answer is A, to go down well. Remember how telling a friend her DIY bangs are crooked definitely won't go down well.
Question 7. What does it mean if an individual is out of touch? A. To physically, purposefully, entirely isolate oneself from a supportive group during a stressful work environment. B. To be completely disconnected from current reality, modern trends, or how normal, everyday people actually live. C. To forcefully, securely, and intentionally, accurately, correctly, violently, scriptly deny completely normal basic truths.
That's right. The answer is B, out of touch. Remember the billionaire saying to stop buying iced coffee to buy a house?
Question 8. What happens when someone tries to make a case for something? A. To passionately argue in favor of a specific thing, even if it happens to be highly unpopular public opinion. B. To successfully construct a highly secure physical container designed to secretly transport volatile chemicals. C. To systematically organize a remarkably complicated corporate legal process into easily manageable new categories.
That's right. The answer is A, to make a case for. Remember passionately arguing that Crocs are elite shoes.
And that wraps up the quiz portion.
You know, wrapping up this whole deep dive, it's interesting. The title of the original SpeakDuo material was actually about escaping your phone and practicing curiosity.
Oh, really? That is kind of ironic.
Very. We spend so much time learning advanced vocabulary to connect with others, yet we often use the digital tools at our fingertips to escape into our phones.
Wow, yeah, that hits close to home.
So I want to leave you with this thought to mull over. Are you using your mastery of language to stay curious about the real people around you? Or are you inadvertently letting technology hold you hostage?
That is a brilliant question to reflect on. Thank you so much for exploring these phrases with us today.
Anytime at all, it was fun.
And to you listening, keep practicing, and we will catch you on the next deep dive.